What's going on, guys? I got kind of a cool little, I don't know, like patch together video for you real quick. So I'm down at Lake Pickwick at McFarland Park, and I just pulled the boat out. I met my buddy Bo. I've actually met him at the ramp a couple times, but we're just both out fishing. And he's like, hey Mikey, you like swim baits? And I'm like, you've piqued my interest. And he's like, dude, I kind of, what would you call it? You collect them, I guess? Or not collect them, but you're into it, dude.
Into it, yeah.
He's into swim baits, and he's like, dude, you want to look at them? Come and see. So if you guys want to see some, like, I'm talking not just like, ooh, look at my little river to sea glide bait. Like, let me give you a taste real quick. Yeah. So we're gonna go and we're gonna talk to Bo and have him show us his collection and talk a little bit about how to use them and where he uses them, what kind of fish, what kind of cover, and just look at really cool baits. So hit that like and subscribe button. We're gonna chat with Bo about some awesome swim baits. Are you? So I guess let's start with it. So Bo said this is like a third of what he has. Do you have a mix of stuff that's I guess what you call like retail stuff as well as custom stuff or stuff that you made? Like, how would you describe the stuff that you got?
Most of the stuff I have is all custom made stuff I got online. I'd fish some off the shelf stuff like the Rivers CF S waivers, but I mean Swimbait Universe is my go-to. There's a bunch of good guys there.
Buying I get most,
yeah.
So show me something cool. Show me something unique. What do you got? I'm putting the pressure on him.
Some of these I have 316 Workhorse, Chad.
What's a Chad?
KGB swim baits.
God, I know so little.
So
is that a glide style bait?
Yeah, glide style bait, 7-inch range.
It's super thin. Yeah. 7 inch to the down to the fit.
Yeah.
Oh, 7 inch length.
length.
Okay.
Yeah.
How deep does that fish?
I mean, as deep as shallow as you want it. You can count it down to the depth you want it and fish it from there, or you can weight the nose. You can use, there's rigs you can use to get it down deeper.
Right.
But mostly, you can use lead strips on the hooks, that sort of thing, to get them to the depth you want.
That makes sense. All right, show me some more here. Is that a shizzer? It looks kind of like a shizzer.
Kind of like a shizzer. Yeah, this is Golden Belt Customs. Mike Stacy, he does a lot of work, good stuff. I have several of these. This is my most recent one. I haven't fished it yet, but
it almost looks like a polished shizzer. Like it's nice and rounded out, and I kind of like that one. That's pretty cool. What else you got?
I got phony frog, bluegill. I forgot what this one's called. Dirty gill.
That's it. Have you caught fish on all these?
Not all of them, no. I haven't even fished this one yet. I just got it a couple of weeks ago.
Is that another glide style, or is that just like S around?
No, it's a glide style bait, yeah.
Dude, that thing is gorgeous.
This is one of my favorites right here. BGC Customs, Bill Barton painted. I fished that one a fair amount.
So I'm gonna ask you a really stupid question, because obviously you know a lot more about this stuff than me. So my initial, I look at this, you said BG Customs or BGC Customs. So I look at that and I'm like, oh yeah, that's a nice Savage Gear glide bait. Don't make fun of me, and yes, you can hit dislike on this video, that's fine. What's the price point on something like that?
Man, it varies. If you buy a blank, the blanks, I don't even remember what the prices are. They're like 120 bucks, and you get them custom painted. I'm afraid to tell anybody what I got into.
But it's like a bill, though. Like, I mean, it's no like $20 Savage Gear kind of thing.
Most of these are going to be $100, $200.
So what sets like something like this apart from something that I'm going to grab off the shelf at a tackle shop?
To be honest with you, the swim on stuff like this is just that much better. I feel like I can do more with it. I have more confidence in it. And, with fishing, confidence is key.
Yeah, that is true. But the action that you do see with these is, and it's probably unique too. I've noticed a lot, like especially Gunnersville, Pickwick's actually kind of that way too, especially during ledge season. If you get a bait that's slightly different, we kind of talked about it, the Fritz side, something that just came out, it has a little different wobble, maybe it's flat-sided. It's amazing the difference that it makes, like compared to your standard lures that should catch them all the time. And I'm sure that's the same case with these guys. They're a little bit bigger, and they all have their own like little unique actions. So show me some more here. What's this guy? What's that spec bait?
That's Rafa Crappie. Again, Bill Barton painted. This is one of my favorites as well.
Who's Bill Barton?
He does a lot of custom paint work, especially for Mike Buca, but he does some other stuff as well.
He's not local, is he?
No, I think he's from Kentucky.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he's from Kentucky. But he does, obviously fantastic work.
Dude, that's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I need a crankbait like that. That's so down in Florida. You watch the videos, but like we crank a lot with 10XD, and I'm convinced, and me and actually JT Kenny talked about it, I'm convinced those big ones that we're catching pre-spawn are 100% eating speck or crappie as they call them up here. So getting something painted like that would be pretty cool. Show me something. So these are mainly glides right here, right? Show me something that's a little bit different than a glide.
I put a lot of my 3-piece stuff away.
Or show me something cool. I could care less. This is awesome, dude.
This is cool. This is a 2-piece Matt Lures gill.
Oh, that's a classic, dude.
Yeah. It usually makes 3 pieces. That's the 2-piece. I fished it a little bit, but I ended up picking up a soft plastic. The water wasn't right, so I've been fishing a lot more soft plastics than I have anything else.
Well, with the spawn being on, I mean, it makes sense. Yeah. That's badass. Yeah. What is that?
Matt Lures closer shad.
I've never seen one of those. That's a Matt Lures?
Yeah.
Dude. And so the 3-piece, they get that like that S action or whatever.
Yeah. Most of my segmented baits are all bull shads. I mean, it's kind of hard to go wrong with a bull shad.
Yeah.
He makes fantastic stuff.
He does. And he's super cool.
Yeah, he's a cool guy. Great price point. So, you know, anytime I've needed help tuning or fixing something, he's been available online to help me out. So it's good stuff. So I definitely get a lot of his stuff.
So we're at Lake Pickwick, and me and Bo kind of linked up at the ramp here. I noticed you got some on deck, and I know a lot of you guys are from Alabama or you fish around on the TVA. What are a few that you got taught on that you were actually using today out here?
Fish with Salzman a bunch. It's kind of hard to miss that one. You know, True Bass Swimbait.
True Bass Swimbait's classic.
On a 1/2 ounce screw lock head.
Now, did you hang a giant fish with that, or did you hang a rock?
No, I was watching videos on how to keep that hook from coming out very often. Chris Zaldane has a video on how to do that, and all he did was pull that one point out. That way it spears into the belly to keep the hook from coming out.
A super good idea, dude. That's cool.
Yeah, it works pretty well.
So maybe not all the pros are douchebags, just some of them. What's this guy here, the White Lightning?
That's a Dream Smasher. I got it a couple weeks ago, and I just threw it today. Decided to tie it on.
That's really cool. It's got that nice wagtail.
Yeah.
I wish they made one of these. I've always talked about in Florida. I think there's room for some kind of either glide or like kind of like a boot style swim bait that mimics a shiner. Still hasn't happened though. So if you want to make some money, build one of those. I have one that looks exactly like this. What is this guy right here?
That's a high power herring.
This is the one you were telling me about.
Yeah.
So what is this, like a big money bait, expensive?
I mean, if you get them from the guy who makes them, they're not terribly expensive. I think retail on them's $150, but he doesn't make many of them, and they're not easy to get. But I mean, I have one tied on almost all the time because it's a shad.
Have you caught fish on it?
I've caught a couple of small ones, nothing of any size.
Yeah. Glide style, or is it just a segment kind of swimming?
It's unique, unlike a lot of these other glides that I have, because it has its own action. I equate it to kind of like being a jerk bait style, where it's always flashing and rolling.
Yeah.
You know, so that's what I like about it. It's more, I think it triggers more reaction bites, but.
The one that I have that looks like this runs a little bit deeper. Does this run a little bit deeper as well?
Depends on what sink rate you have. This one's a slow sink, I think, suspend. So a couple feet under the water, you can count it down longer. But the place I've been fishing lately, get it a foot or two under the water, and I'll just start fishing it.
So, question that I have for you too, because it looks like me and you are on the same page. I needed a generalized swim bait rod like many years ago, and I reached out to Mike Buca, and I'm like, hey Mike, I don't know anything about swim baits. You literally build them. What rod should I throw? And he's like, dude, grab a Dobbins Fury. The price point is great. The action is perfect. $795, and it looks like that's what you kind of got here. Is that what you're throwing a lot of these jokers on?
Yeah, this is a $795 here. I have the 806. Which shout out to Shelton's Clothing in Moulton. I mean, he has great deals on rods, and you can pick up a Fury for, I don't remember what I paid, but it was I think less than $120.
Yeah, dude, they're cheap.
Absolutely.
Like, and the actions are perfect, and they also they have a longer handle. And when it comes to, like, I don't know much about swim bait fishing, but I do know throwing them is kind of a headache, and having that longer handle gives you a lot more leverage in slanging them out. What do you have? We kind of went through those. What's that guy? That dark, the one on the top. That's a weird looking joker.
That's a Hinkle shad.
Oh, I'm gonna steal that from you. That's worth like $500, isn't it?
No, the supply went down, demand went up, and prices got high a few years ago. But he's making them again, and I mean they're still $200 or so.
Dude.
Yeah, I want to say that's a TK Stanley paint job, but don't quote me.
Yeah, but that's bad to the bone, man.
Yeah.
So glide style bait, all those Hinkles are gliders?
Yeah, this is more of a cover glide, open water glide, whatever you want to call it.
What's a cover glide?
Open water glide, you're throwing out in the open, say over a ledge for deeper water. You get them to look at and come up. It has more bigger glide, more drawing power, that sort of thing.
Really?
Yeah.
So there's all kinds, like anything, there's all kinds of nuance to this stuff.
Absolutely.
Too.
And all of these baits have a unique action. You know, some guys like their baits to move a certain way and they stick to a certain thing. I like variety. I like using different baits and figuring out how they fish. You know, so I mean, they're all going to catch fish eventually if you do the right thing. That's the part I have trouble with a lot of times, doing the right thing. But
I think we all have trouble with that, dude. I suck like 80% of the time I'm on the water. Yeah. So tell me this then. How many years have you been playing around with this, or how long has been this little swim bait like obsession thing?
1 to 2 years. I dabbled in it about 2 years ago. Last year I didn't fish a whole lot. This year I'm kind of pretty hardcore. I mean, that's pretty much all I do when I'm by myself.
It is fish. Yeah. I like your attitude, because that's all I do. Is I'll lose my damn mind. So tell me this then. This should actually be like a Coke commercial. I'm drinking Coke Zero. So I suck at swim bait fishing. I also suck at confidence up here on the TVA. Me and Bo were talking. We actually just caught a mega bag of smallmouth. You guys might have already seen the video. It was stupid, mixed bag, grand slam. Bunch on Neds, a bunch on finesse stuff, which I'm super duper comfortable with. But what I'm not super duper comfortable with, because I don't understand these fisheries very well, is picking up something like a Hinkle shad, like whatever this thing is, whatever this pretty thing is, and throwing it. So to all guys who are kind of looking to dabble in the swim bait stuff, I guess maybe I probably know the answer. What would be the one bait that you could go out not no matter what time of year, but say spring, late spring, that you're comfortable with and you have some confidence in to get bit?
Probably a paddle tail. The big thing is I'm going to find something that I have available at my local shop.
Okay.
I can find these hollow bodies, whether it be True Bass or any other brand. We have a lot of True Bass here.
Right.
So that's what I use on a half-ounce head. More often than not is what I'm throwing it on. Right. For glides, a River to CS waiver, you can't go wrong with that. It's a great action for the money. The big one's like $40 for the big one.
You can't. It is a good deal, and it's not perfect, but it's pretty decent, and you don't mind hanging it up in a tree and losing.
Yeah,
it,
you're not scared to lose it. You start investing, a couple $100 in a bait, man. You start throwing this stuff, you get a little. I've gotten over that.
That's my problem, and maybe so you've gotten over that.
Oh yeah.
Because that's my problem, dude. Some of these baits that I've gotten, like, I've been very fortunate to get them, and the last thing I want to do is give them to the lake. Like, that's kind of my worst fear. So a river to sea. So if you want to step up your game, say 1 notch, like a little more specialty, a little less sort of national vendor, what would you recommend?
It's probably. It depends on your fishery.
What is that?
That's a 316 workhorse.
Oh, really? That's a pretty standard thing too.
Yeah. They're not cheap, but you can find them.
How does that compare to the river to sea?
As far as I'll be honest with you, I haven't fished this one yet.
Okay.
I'd say it's kind of like your standard wide glide, probably similar to what the river sea would be, but I haven't fished it, so.
So back to a little more step up on the bait, like something a little above a river to sea. What would you pick out?
If you can get them, it really depends on your fishery. You have more gills. I'm a big fan of these sly guys, but Fish Lab makes one that has a nice action. Sly guy right here, that's a 7.5. And a sly guy at 5.9. I love this thing. It's fantastic.
Cool. I wish I had one of those. I was on Gunnersville, and I had a fish on a bed, and I ran the river to sea through it, and that joker came unglued. Didn't eat it, but dude was like, what are you doing over there? And it wasn't locked on or anything, and he freaked out. But I think like once you run that glide through, I think the initial time is the most exciting time or the most triggering time for that fish, but after that it's all downhill. But having a few options, especially something that's a bluegill, because you see those bass running the bluegill off the bed, would be pretty cool. But I keep interrupting your final thoughts. So a sly guy, if you have brim or bluegill.
Yeah, I'm a fan of them. For shad, man, it really depends. As far as most of these you're going to have to order, from the website or get on a drop, which is impossible for me, so I end up buying secondhand. But for a big open water glide, if you don't, Hinkles aren't really easy to find. A phony frog, that joker is one of my favorites to throw in this specific one, this color.
That's another wide glide too, right?
Yeah, it's more of an open water glide.
Open water glide. I'm learning such vocabulary. This is cool. So, last thing. Let's wrap this video up because both of us need to kind of get on the road. I'm seriously appreciative of you showing me all this, and I'll get your address after this video and rob your house. I hope you don't have a big mean dog. But what's one little... I struggle with confidence out here. There's a whole like slew of things. What's one thing that gets you through the day throwing these big baits, or kind of, I don't know, how do you mentally kind of approach throwing these on such a high pressure body of water where you might not get a bite all day? Like, what's your mental standpoint? What do guys need to know going into it if they want to try this out?
If you're gonna try out, just do it. Leave all your other gear at home and just go. Don't be throw it into the stickiest stuff you can. Throw it into the thick stuff. Don't be scared to lose it. Just go fishing, man. I mean, the same places you'd fish your conventional stuff, you can fish this stuff. It's just a different bait, and you know, like here, not many people throw stuff like this, at least that I know of. So, hell, it's something different. That on a high pressure body of water, I might get bit.
That sounds scary either way. So I'm scared of either losing the bait or I'm scared of something that would actually have the balls to eat this bait. But I really appreciate all the tips and stuff like this. I'm gonna dive into these boxes afterwards. But if you guys got any questions, I'm sure Bo will look at the comments on this video. He'll go and answer or take a look at them. Try some swim baits. I keep trying. I've tried the River to Sea. I'll pick up the bull shed and a few of the other custom ones, that Chizard that I have. I've actually caught a few on that. I need to do it more. There's only so much time in the day, but seeing these things, even beyond just fishing them, is so cool. Because in the end, yes, they're baits and lures, but they're kind of like pieces of art, dude. So make sure to hit that like and subscribe on the video. Swim baits. Dude, they're such... It's like a habit, dude. But we'll see you next time back out on the water, talking baits from the bass cave, whatever. Bog's in the truck. I should probably go let him out. But tight lines till then.